Someone makes a mean comment, does something hurtful, or treats you disrespectfully. But you keep quiet, afraid to be seen as difficult, too much, or worse, a bitch. So you just laugh it off and act like nothing is wrong. You tell yourself that you're happy if the people around you are happy. So you adjust yourself, make yourself small, always accommodating other people's needs and desires. And I've been there. For years, I always tried to be the easy one, the helper, the calm one, the one that never made things difficult. I let people cross my boundaries because I was afraid of being a burden. I put on a smile, I hid my own feelings to the point where I could barely notice them myself, and I was just focusing on making sure everybody around me felt okay. But if you've spent years prioritizing everybody else's needs over your own, adjusting yourself to other people's expectations, at some point you forget who you are and what you want. Many women throughout their lives are taught to prioritize other people's needs over our own, fearing rejection or being seen as difficult or too much when we set boundaries. We unconsciously take on the role of the good girl, which is an internalized belief that our worth comes from being nice, being polite, being accommodating, and never making other people uncomfortable or being inconvenient. And at its core, it's earning approval by erasing our own needs and boundaries and our own voice. From an early age, girls are often praised for being polite, being quiet, helpful, nurturing, easy to be around, while boys, on the other hand, are more encouraged to be assertive, risk-taking, independent, and sometimes even rebellious a little bit. And the statement, boys will be boys, also kind of shows how misbehavior in boys is more accepted and sometimes even expected. And I want to share a clip that really already shows these differences in behavior in boys and girls from a very young age.
I kind of wanted your help, giving it a bit of a taste, and you can tell me how you think. I love lemonade.
Is that alcoholic?
No, it's lemonade.
No, alcohol!
What they don't know is that the lemonade has been spiked with a secret ingredient, a pinch of salt.
First up, it's the boys. Are they going to tell the truth, or will they lie so they don't hurt Kate's feelings?
Oh no, that is disgusting.
Alexa! What, you don't like it?
No,
What do you mean?
it's too sweet. It's too sweet and I'm gonna be sick tonight. I can't have any more, so I'm not having any more. That's disgusting.
Now for the girls. Alice, Tiara and Sienna join Kate outside.
Have a taste now, so off you go.
It was a teeny bit too much lemon. I love the lemon inside it. I think it's incredible, but I don't like the lemon in it. I loved it, okay? I loved it, but I didn't like the other lemon in it. I pretended I did like it, so it made her happy.
Many women grow up feeling responsible for how others feel, so we focus more outwardly, scanning other people's emotions and needs and feelings, instead of focusing more inward and asking ourselves, what do I want and what do I need? In conflict, we tend to ask ourselves, what did I do wrong and how can I fix this? Instead of also seeing how it affects us, which can lead to over-explaining, over-apologizing, downplaying your own needs and feelings and boundaries. It can lead to excessive guilt or self-criticism. And over time, you can start to feel more exhausted and feel more of this pressure, and maybe you even start to feel resentment towards the people you're adjusting yourself for. And while it might feel like you're just being nice and caring, it can really become self-abandonment, and after a while even self-erasure. So you might not even notice when someone crosses a boundary anymore, or you say yes before even asking yourself what you want. You live in service of others and forget your own needs and feelings altogether. So if this is where you are right now, How do you stop erasing yourself? In short, it comes down to being kind over being nice. Being nice is focused on being liked. Being kind focuses on being honest and compassionate, both towards others and yourself. Being nice often means avoiding conflict, suppressing your own needs and feelings, saying what others want to hear, putting other people's comfort over your own truth, seeking approval and trying not to rock the boat. Being kind, on the other hand, means speaking the truth in a thoughtful way. It's about being compassionate and understanding without taking responsibility for the other people's needs and feelings. It's about honoring your needs while also respecting the other person's. It's about choosing what's right over what's easy, and it's about showing up with integrity. Being nice is often fear-based. It's rooted in a desire to be accepted and to avoid rejection, while being kind comes from love. It's rooted in respect and compassion. To make all of this more practical, I want to share 4 tips with you that can help you to stop abandoning yourself and start choosing yourself more while being kind and staying in connection with the other person. The first tip I want to share with you is acknowledge without taking responsibility. So setting a boundary isn't about pulling up a wall. It's actually about staying in connection, both with yourself and the other person. So you can acknowledge their needs without taking responsibility for them. And the way this looks practically is to start by looking inward. What am I feeling? What's important for me right now? What is my boundary? What do I need? So first you answer these questions. And then if you can look at the other person. Because when they're trying to push you or they're being defensive, that always stems from something. So you can ask yourself, what are they feeling right now? What do they want from me? And why is this important to them? And if you can try to acknowledge this. Your partner wants to have a serious and emotional talk with you after you've just had a really long and draining day. Then you can say, I can really see how upset you are and how important this is for you. So I really want to be present with you because you matter to me and I want to hear. But I've had a really long and draining day. So if we'd have this conversation now, I couldn't be present with you in a way that I want to. So let's have this conversation tomorrow after I've had some rest. When the other person doesn't respond in the way that you want, if they feel a bit rejected or they feel angry or they feel disappointed, that's not a sign that you did it wrong. You can validate the other person's emotions, but they're not yours to carry. It's okay to sometimes disappoint people. You're responsible for your own actions and your words, but you do not have full control over the other person's response to you. So if you're someone that has a tendency to make yourself responsible for the other person's feelings, keep asking yourself, am I acting in alignment with my values and my truth, or am I just trying to prevent their discomfort? Caring for other people, making other people happy, is not wrong, but you were never meant to disappear in that process. The second tip that I want to share with you is don't use shame or guilt as an indicator that you did something wrong. When I talk about setting boundaries or prioritizing your own needs with my coaching clients, the topic of guilt almost always comes up. So, that sinking feeling in your stomach that you did something wrong, or the voice that tells you, I am being selfish, I am being too much, I'm being too complicated. It's not a sign that you did something wrong. It's a sign that you were conditioned to believe you always have to put other people's needs first. It's a sign of how deeply you were trained to abandon yourself in order to feel loved, accepted, or safe. Because if you were always praised on being the good girl, on being easy, being convenient, then you learn to ignore your own needs to protect the peace. So of course it's going to feel wrong when you first start choosing yourself. Of course it's going to trigger guilt. But the guilt is not a stop sign. It's a sign that you're stepping out of your old patterns, that you're stepping out of self-abandonment and into self-respect. You don't need to get rid of the guilt before you can start setting boundaries. You just need to recognize it for what it is. It's a learned emotional reflex. So the next time that guilt comes up, ask yourself, Is this guilt pointing to real harm that I've caused? Or is it just the result of doing something unfamiliar and finally choosing myself? The third tip that I want to share with you is to speak from your own experience. So when setting boundaries or making requests, it helps so much to speak from your experience. So speak from your needs, your feelings. So instead of saying, you never listen to me, you only just focus on yourself, or you're always late, you can say, when we argue, I often feel unheard, and that makes it really hard for me to open up. Or I really value being on time, and when I constantly have to wait on you, that makes me feel like you don't value my time. Using I statements makes it really clear that you're talking about your own needs and your own feelings while not blaming the other person, which can really help the other person to stay more open and curious instead of getting defensive. And it also helps you to stay more connected with yourself, because you're not just responding to the other person's behavior, you're responding to what's going on inside you. So in order to do this, you already have to turn inward, reflect on what you're feeling, what you're needing, in order to formulate it. So it's kind of a win-win. The last tip that I want to share with you is a boundary without a consequence is only a suggestion. There is always the risk that you put forward a boundary and the other person doesn't respect it. Even after reinforcing the boundary a few times, it's not listened to. Then it's important that you attach a follow-up action that you have control over to the boundary. So this can look like, when you're always late and when I always have to wait on you, it really makes me feel like you're not respecting my time. So next time I'll wait for 10 minutes, but if you're not there, I'll leave without you. Or I will not keep speaking to you if you keep raising your voice at me. So the next time it happens, I will leave the room and we can continue this conversation when things have calmed a bit. And this is not about punishing the other person. It's about respecting and taking care of your own needs and your own boundaries. And every time that you follow through, you reinforce both to yourself and to the other person that your needs matter and that your boundaries aren't optional. And I'm going to be honest with you. Choosing yourself, speaking up for yourself, setting boundaries, it's going to take some courage and it's not always going to be comfortable. But as long as you keep shrinking yourself, as long as you keep ignoring your own needs in order to accommodate others, this will keep being your truth. And you will keep feeling like your worth is dependent on how much other people like you and how convenient you can make yourself for them. Let go of being nice and start being real. Start being you. And you can be real and kind at the same time, but you might not always be convenient anymore, and that's okay. It was never your job to be convenient. You were just trained to feel like that's what earns you love and acceptance. So stop shrinking yourself in order to fit other people's expectations of you, and start showing up as the version of you that doesn't need to be liked to feel worthy.